All right, let's talk about your phone, specifically that complicated, kind of sort of addicted relationship we all seem to have with it. We're going to dive right into what makes it so dang hard to put the thing down.
I mean, just think about it for a second. The last time you were just kind of mindlessly scrolling, right? Refreshing your feed. You probably figured, hey, I'm just killing some time. But what if I told you that every time you do that, you're not just scrolling, you're gambling? Yeah, that's the big idea we're going to tear apart today.
So let's get into it. The attention slot machine. It's time we stopped thinking of our phones as these innocent little tools. Because they're not. We really have to start seeing them for what they are now. These incredibly sophisticated devices that have been engineered to literally wage a war for our attention.
And look, this isn't some accident. It's not a bug in the system. It is the main feature. You have some of the smartest people on the planet, literal geniuses, whose entire job is to figure out one thing: how to keep your eyeballs glued to that screen. So you might think you're just, staying connected with friends, but what's really happening is you're being turned into a data point in this giant feedback loop, a loop designed to learn exactly what it takes to keep you swiping.
So how do they actually pull this off? How does this brain hijacking work? Well, it all starts with a huge, and I mean huge, misunderstanding about a very famous chemical floating around in our brains: dopamine. And this right here, this flips the script on everything most of us think we know about dopamine. We've all heard it, right? It's the pleasure chemical, but that's not really the full story. Not even close. The reality is way more subtle, and, for the people designing these apps, way more exploitable. It's not about pleasure, it's about anticipation.
And this is the key thing to get. Dopamine isn't the feeling you get when you receive a reward. It's the chemical of wanting it. It's the chase, the pursuit. Your brain releases a shot of it when it thinks something good might be just around the corner.
You see this play out every single time you pull down to refresh your feed. You know that little spinning wheel that pops up? That's not just a loading icon, folks. That's a moment of pure, unadulterated anticipation. It's a tiny little hit of dopamine that keeps you hunting, keeps you searching, even if the reward you get is just, eh.
So that feeling, that anticipation, that's the golden ticket. It's the foundation for the entire industry's most powerful psychological hack. It's the secret sauce that turns just checking into a full-blown compulsion.
It's called a variable reward schedule, and it's the exact same principle that makes slot machines in Vegas so unbelievably addictive. Think about the loop. You pull the lever, or you pull to refresh, your brain gets that little hit of anticipation, and then maybe you get an amazing post, or maybe you get a boring ad, or maybe nothing at all. It's that randomness, that not knowing what's coming next, that makes you pull that lever again and again and again.
And that's what makes it such a sinister bit of genius, right? If you got an amazing reward every single time you refreshed, you'd actually get bored pretty quickly. But the possibility that the next swipe could be the one that gives you that hilarious video or that incredible news, that is what keeps our brains completely locked in this endless loop of wanting.
Okay, so it's a crazy effective system for hooking our brains. But why? What's the end game here? Why go through all this trouble just to get us to scroll like zombies?
Well, the answer, like it so often is, comes down to money. But here's the twist. In this new attention economy, you are not the customer. Your attention, that's the product being sold.
Yeah, every single second you spend on these apps, your focus, your literal consciousness, is being bundled up and sold to the highest bidder. You're just giving away your most valuable resource, your time and your attention, for free. And what do you get in return? The chance to pull the lever on the slot machine one more time.
And the hidden costs here are way higher than we realize. You know that ping from a notification? That's not just a sound. That's literally someone else's priority invading your brain. And even the apps you don't open, they create this phantom buzz in your head, right? They're taking up mental real estate. This digital clutter isn't harmless. It keeps our nervous systems humming in this constant low-grade state of survival mode.
Okay, so that's the bad news. It's a whole system designed to exploit our brain's basic chemistry. But, and this is a big but, the good news is, once you actually understand the rules of the game, you can start to rig it back in your own favor. So let's do this. We're going to walk through 3 simple but really powerful hacks you can start using today to reclaim your focus. First up, the digital declutter.
All right, this is step 1, and you have to be ruthless. Go into your phone settings right now. If a notification isn't from a real person you know and it's not actually urgent, kill it. Turn it off. Just reclaim your headspace. Then, take a hard look at your home screen. Which apps are the biggest slot machines?
Be honest. And just delete them. Get them out of there.
Okay, number 2, you gotta fix your breaks. Seriously. When you take a break from work or studying, what's the first thing you do? You reach for your phone, right? That's the absolute worst thing you can do because you're just swapping one high dopamine activity for another. The secret is to take a boring break. I'm serious. Go stare out a window, make a cup of tea, let your brain just chill. This lets your dopamine baseline reset so when you get back to work, you can actually focus again.
And finally, this is the pro-level hack, dopamine loading. Think about it. Most of us wake up, and the first thing we do is grab our phone and scroll in bed, right? We're getting this massive, cheap dopamine spike first thing in the morning. And that makes every other hard, important thing we have to do that day feel, well, impossible. The hack is to flip that script. Do the hard stuff first, the work, the studying, the exercise. Get that done. And then save that cheap, easy dopamine reward of scrolling for the end of the day when you don't need your focus anymore.
Look, at the end of the day, it's a choice. You can keep being a data point in someone else's giant experiment, or you can take what you've just learned and start rigging the game back in your favor.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. Take a really honest look at your phone. What's the biggest slot machine in your life? Which app is the one that has you pulling that lever again and again? Because just identifying it, that's the first and honestly the most powerful step you can take to win.